Export to the cloud. All right, we're going to get rolling. I'm impatient. So anytime you got a question or something, just interject. But today we're going to continue down give to get. And the reason I want to continue down give to get is we need to get really good at getting what we earn, right? So we do take it for granted. We give a massive presentation because remember, none of this stuff matters if we did not give a massive presentation. If our inspection was missing value, if our company presentation was missing value, if our commitment to resolution was missing value, we didn't get all identified, there's nothing else they're looking for, we didn't pre-close. Pretty much at this point, we would be spinning our wheels. We'd be fighting for something that we probably didn't deserve. So I just wanted to put that piece in there. But if you did a great job and you know it's down to anything besides price or payment, that's what our focus is. So, recapping back through yesterday, we talked about relieving pressure, and sometimes in a negotiation, you have to release to basically be able to apply, which means we want to make sure we are putting ourselves in a situation that is allowing them to say yes. Because if, again, we are almost bantering or arguing or poking at them, it's really not moving us towards that deal. We need to, again, get them comfortable so that way we can allow them to say yes with us. So we got to figure out a way to get them comfortable. So again, we had talked about the pressure release. So it sounds like to me, John and Mary, just facts you need to think about. It's the only reason we're not moving forward. Is that correct? Yeah. So that's it. Nothing else. Great. So, thanks for sharing that. Sounds like to me, basically probably if you can't make a decision today, probably be ready to make a decision probably next Thursday, say 2:00, right? So you remember we take the time frame after, and then literally, yes, we can make that decision, next Thursday at 2:00. Great. So, if I hear you correctly, just that way I'm going to write you an email. But first, go ahead and put it on your calendar, and I'm going to put it on my calendar so we know we've got an exact date time for follow-up, right? And you'll mark it on your calendar, put it in your phone, do whatever it is. That's a pressure release. So, level with me I'm going to write you a follow-up email. I just want to make sure I've got everything in here. When it comes time for when you're thinking about the company, what else do you want to know about the company as far as information goes that you're not already comfortable with? Well, no, we love the company. So it sounds like to me you're still 100% confident, trust, and dream Stereo Modeling, right? Yes. Boom. Then we go to the product. So, as far as the product's concerned, what other information do you want about the product? Anything we weren't talking about? Remember we talked about the glass, the basically installation methods, all the things that were coming through. Was there anything else that we needed to think about there? No. So it sounds like to me, as far as color choices, anything like that, any information you want me to send you? Nope, everything's perfect. Good. So it sounds like to me, then really, well, real quick, what about warranty and service? Anything about that? No, we're good there too. Perfect. So it sounds like to me, really, we're going to think about it, thinking about the money, right? So let me ask you, when it comes time next Thursday at 2:00, is this something you're going to basically try to stroke a check for the full amount? Or you're going to go and open an account and pay $343 a month? Which one of those two are you going to think about the most? Well, we're going to think about the account. So what you're telling me is you wouldn't stroke it a check? No. So that's off the table. So when you're thinking about opening an account, can I ask you, when you're thinking about $343 a month, is it because that's more than your budget can allow right now? Or you're thinking to see if something's going to clear up? Can you elaborate with me? What do you need to think about? Would it be more comfortable at, let's say, 275, 300? What are you thinking? And again, we're trying to get them back down into the money again. We want them to tell us the truth because we just put them in a future state. So again, that's what we call relieving the pressure. Now, you got to get good after you relieve the pressure of pulling them back in. Because what we're trying to do is get them to tell us the truth, right? And so let's take it for a minute and say they think they want to go the cash route because they saved up. Let's say we have a $20,000 project. Let's say they saved up 10. Let's say they saved up 10 grand, right? So if they saved up $10,000, we got a $10,000 deficit, right? If I've got a $10,000 deficit and I'm down 10 grand, I got to be able to justify the amount on why they need to spend $10,000 more than what they saved up for. Or say the last estimate was $10,000 less. So at this point, I don't know who is on basically. Of course, it's Mike Pierce. So one of the things I want to basically tell you is at this point, we've got to get them comfortable with that $10,000 price tag, right? So, in the very beginning, we asked that question, John and Mary, how long have you owned your house? And they say 8 years. So they've owned their house for 8 years, right? So let's say, again, they don't plan on moving out of their house. So it's a forever home, right? So let's just base this 10 grand over the next 5 years, right? Because we already know that the loan amount we're looking at is 60 months. So if that's the route that they're basically looking at off the start, the 343 be say $60 or 60 basic month term, then we need to figure out how to break that baby down. So what we're going to do is we're going to break into reduce to the ridiculous. Okay. It really works well if you're at 5 grand, 2 grand, 3 grand different, then you can do it within a year. But in this case, what I would share with them, I said, you're almost $10,000 more than we wanted to spend for the project. So unfortunately, we're just not going to be able to do anything right now. And we're going to have to probably come back and revisit again. We save some more money, right? That's pretty much a go-to phrase when they say that. So one of the things that I take them back to, I said, so real quick before, I just wanted to share something with you before I do it, just for my clarity, if we take the money and set it aside and it's outside running around with the dog or sitting outside where it's no issue, is there any reason besides the money why you wouldn't want to go ahead and get forward, right? No. And let me ask you a question. Had we been at 10,000, is that something you would have been writing a check for today? That's the first statement because we got to break this down, right? If we just start going at it and apologizing that we're $10,000 more going to justification mode, we're not really moving ourselves towards it. We're at a stall standpoint. And what's happening every time we go justifying, that wall goes up more. So we can't let that wall go up. We got to keep the wall down while they're willing to talk to us. So had we been at 10,000, is that what it would have taken for us to earn your business today? Well, yeah, I think it is. 10,000 up to what? Well, I don't know. We'd probably give up a couple thousand more. Okay. So remember earlier you had shared with me, you've already owned your house 8 years, right? So when we did that and took a look at it, you said your average utility bill, which you should have gotten in the very beginning of it, has been ranging about $450. So if you have a $400 and $450 utility bill, and you've been paying that for basically the last 8 years, so if I take basically $450 times, what is that, 96 months? That means you've already paid $43,200 just to heat and cool your house over that last basically 8 years, right? Did you realize that you guys have paid that much already just as far as utilities go? You're like, well, Yes, no, maybe indifferent. Okay. So if you already paid $43,200, did you realize that you paid that much? And most people will tell you, no, actually, we had no clue. So if you think about this, really, we're talking about today, your current utility bills are setting at $453. You know, SDG&E tells us over the next several years, we can expect a 28% gas hike on our utility bill. So if I take that again, that 453, that means that's going to add an additional $126.84 a month on top of what I'm already paying, the $450. So if I take my new utility bill at bare minimum, if I use no extra electric or heating or cooling, that means my current bill, my current bill is going to be $576.84 a month. Who is on the call now? $576.84 a month. If I take that same amount, and you told me it was going to take a stick of dynamite to get you out of here, by 120 months, which is just 10 years, means that you're spending $69,220 to heat and cool your house. If I take that over just the $126.84 times 120, means you are paying $15,000, $220 with using no more electric over the next basically 120 months than you are using today. Living the same way as you're currently living right now, you're paying an additional $15,220. So you ask me, why do I bring that up, right? Because I need to let you know, guys, you're already paying for your windows and doors no matter what you do. So when you really look at that aspect onto it, how does that make you feel knowing that that extra $126 a month you'd be paying just to heat and cool your house is going to average more than what you've actually put together or set aside even by your windows? So at that point, we want to get them wrapped around these big dollar figures, right? So again, at bare minimum, you're going to be spending $69,000, $200, and that's just living in your house 10 years, not even calculating the 180 months. Now, do you remember when we took you down to the glass pack and we showed you the glass compared to what you have now? And I asked you how much, when I asked you our average customer saves 25 to 40% off your utilities. You know, you basically told me that literally you would save about 30% off of utilities. You know, if we took that off a bare minimum, 25%. Let me take that $69,220 times 25%. That means you're going to save a total of $17,305 based on that difference. So really what I'm trying to share with you right now, where you're paying $126.84 a year extra just for basically the gas hike itself and nothing different. Think about how much money is coming out of your pocket if you don't do anything, right? So by doing nothing at all, do you see how you're going to be paying for this project no matter what? So again, if I take that number and I take basically my $17,305 utility savings, now I got to add in resale value. So today, currently, if the project looked at what we're looking at, let's say is 2143, we're going to leave your maintenance savings at zero, but if you left what you had, you would agree eventually you're going to have to replace glass packs, caulk, seal the windows, figure out something you have to do to maintain it, because doing nothing at all at this point, which is the reason I'm here, we know really isn't even an option, because we agree that they definitely need to be replaced, right? So if I take the total energy savings of $17,305, I take my total return on investment, which is what I'm going to get back out of the project. They say right now in San Diego is ranging about 83 to 87% cost recouped. So if just for giggle's sake, I just keep that number super conservative. I take that 123 times basic, let's say 70%. Would you agree that that's a fair number? That's going to give you a total resale value of $14,086. So if I add the two together, my $14,086 basically return on investment plus my $17,305 basically energy savings without calculating no maintenance savings whatsoever, that's going to give me $31,391 that I'm putting back in, that I'm basically returning on the investment I put in. Now, if I take out what I paid at the cost we're asking right now, which is $21,123, so again, 31,391.5 minus 21,123. That's a total true return on investment of $11,268.50 if you were to buy it at the 21,23. Now, if I divide that out over the next 120 months, which we looked at, is putting about $93.90 in your pocket over and above what you spend per month. So if you look at it, can you see how this project is going to definitely pay for itself? Yes, yes. Now, on the other hand of it, if you do nothing at all, we talked about, with just with the gas hike increase based on what you're currently paying, is already going to cost you $15,220, which is more than just the $10,000 we talked about before. So if, again, we're talking about the difference between $10,000 between what you want and deserve, and we're talking about a guaranteed putting back in your pocket of $93.90 each month for the rest of the time that you live in the house. By the way, there's no stop point on that. Doesn't it make sense to go ahead and invest in the largest investment in your house, which is your home? Let me ask you, based on that, do you need it? Do you want it? And do you deserve it? Like, yeah, but I can't get over the 10,000 mark. Well, we already know you're paying for it. No matter if you pay me, you pay the utility company. So I'm a little confused. So it sounds like to me you just don't have the cash to pay out of pocket. Is that correct? Yes, but you know we've got to get it done. So what a lot of customers in your case do is they go ahead and put the 10 down, or at least 8, towards the project, and they go ahead and open an account and pay monthly so they can afford to pay it off. Because if it took you, how long did it take you to save up that money? 3 years, 6 years, 5 years, 2 years, they got a bonus, whatever it might be. Okay. So again, you can probably save that amount of money back up again in that exact amount of time, right? So again, it's not like you're going to pay it forever, and there's no penalty for early payoff. You just want to be comfortable when you make the decision, right? So again, if we're talking the difference between you getting what you want and deserve is $343 a month, what would be comfortable? Why you're saving up that rest of the amount of money to take care of this project? Would it be more like $250, $300? What were you thinking? And start diving back down into that payment again. If you don't work back the numbers, right? So the return on investment I did, basically just showing, I just scribbled a bunch of stuff on paper. But if I'm not using numbers to help me analytically make this work, then all I'm doing is I'm trying to close with words. And sometimes words work real good, but if you can reduce it to the ridiculous, right? If I can show them that after they pay for their project, they're putting $11,268.50 back in their pocket, which averages out to about $93.90 a month that they're taking off their utilities and basically putting back in their pocket. So even if they're talking about interest, well, we're talking they would need to pay $11,268 in interest to make this not make sense over the next basically 120 months. So again, can you see how this project's going to pay for itself? Now, 2 frames of thought at that $10,000 number, right? I can also take and show them how little that number is, right? So John and Mary, even though it's going to pay for itself, let me tell you something where you might not be looking through the right set of lenses, knowing that you say we're 10,000 off where we need to be compared to where your budget was, right? So if there's 52 weeks in a year, and I know at bare minimum you're going to live in this house another 10 years. Let's just not even take that. Let's just take it by 5. So that's a 260 months. or 260 weeks in the next 5 years, right? So if I take $10,000 and I divide that by 260, that means I'm paying approximately $166 a month. And I divide that by 7, means I'm paying $23.80 a day is what I'm doing, paying for that basically product over the next basically next 260 weeks, right? If I really want to get deep into it, I can take my 52 weeks, because there's 52 weeks in a year, times 10 years, that's 520 weeks. So if I again take $10,000 over the course of time they're going to live in their house, divide that by basically, divide that by, 520. That's going to be approximately $19.23 a week. Divide that by 7 is $2.74 a day for the entire time they're living back inside their house, right? So what I want you guys to think about it. If you just did it over basically 5 years, you're talking $166 a week and $23.80 a day. We did over the course of over the next 10 years, which is the next basically 520 weeks, is going to be $19.23 a week, or $2.74 a day. So let me ask you guys a question. The average person, when they're paying insurance a month, has car insurance, they have dental insurance, they have medical insurance, they have basically optical insurance, they have life insurance, and no matter whatever supplemental insurances they have through there, when you group all those insurances together, the average household is paying anywhere between $800 to $1,500 a month. Would you say that number is low or high compared to where you're spending? Well, it's probably right in line. Would you say closer to 800 or closer to 1,500? Well, let's just say closer to 800. Okay, let's use 800 as a base then. That means each year you're paying $9,600 just for peace of mind guarantee, right? Because if you don't use your insurance, do they give you a check back at the end of the year? No, they don't. So again, if we're talking about the difference between that, just in 1 year, if I take that $9,600 and I divide that by 52, means you're paying $184.61 every week. That basically, whether you get paid or not, you're paying for that peace of mind guarantee. If I divide that by 7, means you're already paying $26.37 a day just to live. And that's not calculating how much money, if you take that same $9,600, and one thing you can guarantee about insurance, that premium's always going up. If I take that by the next, basically 10 years, means you've paid nearly $100,000 for peace of mind guarantee. Again, $100,000 for peace of mind guarantee. So again, what route you want to take, or do you want to break it down into? When you talk about that $10,000 difference we're talking about, really isn't $10,000. It's really either, if you decide to take it over the next 60 months, really it averages out to about $166 a week, which is $23.80 a day. Or if you want to take it out for the full amount, which is 120 months, which you know you're at least going to live in your house here, and you break that difference out, it's $19.23 a week, which is $2.74 a day, which is less than you go buy a basic cups of Starbucks coffee every day. And if you're one of those Starbucks people, can you afford to basically drink a cup of coffee at home to get the windows you want and deserve for your home? Let me ask you, does it make more sense now, looking through a set of lenses with already what you're paying on a day-to-day basis, and knowing that SDG&E is already going to hit you for $15,220, and the insurance company's taking $9,600 from you? Really, you willing to sacrifice $2.74 a day to get the windows you want and deserve inside your home? So again, it's reduced to the ridiculous. So can you see again how it's really not $10,000, it's $2.74 a day? So let me ask you a question. Do you need it? Do you want it? And really, can you afford not to do it? And if I were you, I'd put $8,000 down. I'd put 8K down, and I would go ahead and open an account for the rest and do it at 120 months because there's no penalty for early payoff, and that gives you a chance to prepare for the worst in case there is an emergency. Because what I know about most people, when they put 10K aside for that, that might be a stash that if they lost that money tomorrow, they'd definitely miss it. So let's go ahead and make you comfortable. Can I help make you comfortable and get you started on the project? Can I welcome you to Dreamstyle Remodeling? You got to use number math sometimes to help it make sense, right? Because people, when they put numbers together, they save up this budget. They either found that budget online, they found that budget through a third party, they found that budget through somebody in a different state that bought a product, but they're not dealing with the stuff inside their own house with their own 8 years of neglect in this circumstance. They're not dealing with the fact that they're paying $450 a month for the utilities, and if they do nothing at all, they're adding another $126.84 by SDG&E because of 28% gas hike. Now, I'm probably not as sharp as some of you that are in the house every single day. But if I were in the house, these are the go-tos that I would go to help me justify the difference in the costs they saved up for compared to the costs they're willing to pay for the project. And the bigger the price tag goes up, the easier it is to justify. Because 20 grand really isn't that different when you're looking at an $80,000 project. When you're looking at basically a $100,000 project, 40 grand difference really isn't that big of a difference. When you're talking 10 grand, 2 grand, or 4 grand, it's not that big of a difference. Because again, really, what are they sacrificing to take advantage of $4,000 price tag? Reducing to the ridiculous, which is using energy audits and basically just the insurance math on there, makes a big difference. So you got to know how to reduce the ridiculous. So let's time out and put it in real people terms, right? So the mathematics here, when I'm taking true mathematics on this baby, is coming from a couple different ways. You know, if in my inspection I'm doing my job and I'm finding out what their hot buttons are, and if it's energy efficiency, well, the first thing you should ask is when you get to the first window you start inspecting is, boy, in a house like this, I got to ask you, what do you pay for utilities? Is it, what, $1,000, $1,500 a month? You always guess high compared to what it is. So if you're in a McMansion, what is this? Geez, about $4 or $5 grand a month in here to pay utilities? Because you're going to get them to tell you what the real number is. But if you guess low or ask them what they pay for the utilities, you're always going to get a lowball number because they don't want to give you anything to help sell them. So again, you got to remember, I got to get that number out. So first, if I'm going to do an energy audit, I need to find out what their true utility cost is. So if I know what their true utility cost is, then that's the first thing I need to know. So if it's 400, whatever it might be, I need to find out what that is. Next thing I need to find out an energy audit is I need to get them to buy in to what their true ROI is. Cost versus value says 82 to 86% cost recouped, right? Next thing I need to get them to buy in is what their total utility savings would be. So I need to get them to commit this when I'm doing my glass pack presentation. So if you're an idiot and don't do a glass pack presentation, then you have no clue, which means you don't know what you don't know, how bad you're screwing yourself at the end of this project. Because again, if you can get them to commit anywhere between 25 to 40%, like most of our customers say they save off the utilities, then you have something tangible you can use here. But if you don't get that number out and you're throwing something or shooting from the hip, again, you're not using numbers that are real, that put them in a slice of life that they can take ownership for. So again, think about that. So again, when I'm doing an energy audit, I need to make sure I have my true cost of utilities, my basically ROI, and my true utility savings number, okay? In that number also, I need to take into account the fact of the 28% hike of SDG and E, right? And if I'm not calculating that, and if you're in Orange County, you can use whatever your utility grid is on there that probably has the same grid. But again, I need to make sure I set myself up well so when I'm doing this form, I have all of these numbers. So really, it's pretty easy. True utility cost, ROI, true utility savings, and basically the fact there's going to be a 28% gas hike. So when I'm looking at the things I need to accomplish, those are the numbers I need to get. When I'm looking at basically when I'm looking at the next thing, which is my utility savings ROI, or my reduced to the ridiculous, or my, energy audit, or my insurance audit, I need to know what their current insurance cost is. Is it $800 or $1,500 a month? But I need to line out all the things they pay, right? So before I go telling them they pay $800, $1,500 a month, I need to write out medical insurance, dental insurance, optical insurance, life insurance, car insurance, supplemental insurance, all these different insurances, right? Because if I have all these laid out, then I can group those into one big fat number. And after I let them know they pay $800 to $1,500 a month. So what you kind of look at right through here is if I take 800, I know that's $9,600 per year. By the way, you do use thousands here. And if I use 1,500 times 12, that's 18,000 that they're paying per year. So on a range, the average person is paying between $9,000 and $18,000 per year just for basically peace of mind guarantee, which is what they call insurance, right? And at the end of the year, is that insurance company going to cut you a check back if basically you don't use it? And the answer to that is no. So if you don't use it, what happens to that money? It's gone. You're not getting any kind of return on your investment, right? So next, if you're talking about the difference, next thing we got to do is I would take it out based on how many years they're doing the project too. So if they're going to be looking at, they're going to live in the house for 5 years. Well, if I know I'm living in the house for 5 years, if I take $9,600, that means basically that's going to cost us $48,000 just to basically have that peace of mind guarantee, right? So if I take that and I reduce to the ridiculous real quick, so if I got $9,600 a year divided by 52 weeks, because there's 52 weeks in a year, right? So your mathematics is you want to divide the amount of money they pay for insurance by 52 weeks, because that's going to tell you what they pay every week, which in this case would be a minimum of $184.61. And I divide that by 7, so I figure out what they're paying per day. Means every day they wake up, whether they go to work or not, they're paying $26.37 a day every day they wake up for peace of mind guarantee, no matter what. You take it on the high end, which is $1,500, which is, $18,000 a year, at $1,500 a month. Basically, that divided by 52 is 34. I didn't do that right. 18,000 divided by basically 52 is $346 per week. Divide that by 7 is $49.45 per day that they're paying for peace of mind guarantee, right? Now, when we get these numbers out of what they're paying for the utility bills, now we have to make sure we're dividing out the number that they're paying for the for their project itself. So how you're going to do that is you're going to take the amount of money that is your difference. Say it's 10 grand here. That's your difference. So you're going to take that $10,000. And if I want to make it look better, and they tell me they're going to live in the house another 5 years, then I'm going to take 52 weeks times 5, because that's 260 weeks I'm dividing that out by, right? So if I take basically 10,000 and I divide that by 260, because there's 260 weeks in 5 years, that's going to tell me that they're going to be paying $38.46 per week for basically to have the windows they want and deserve, or $5.49 per day, which is less than you could buy a value meal from McDonald's. After tax, that's less than you pay for your $5 fill-up from KFC. That's really the difference of $5.49 a day between you getting the windows or doors you want and deserve and you sacrificing to keep within your budget. Let me ask you, John and Mary, do you need it? Do you want it? And really at $5.49 a day, can you afford not to do it? Those are a couple different ways to reduce to the ridiculous, right? Not to mention using it earlier, we found slice of life. We talked about golf clubs, right? What's the difference between the golf clubs you go to a specialty shop and buy where you get fitted, where you're paying basically anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 for just your irons themselves, not counting a couple $100 for each driver or wood that you put inside your bag. At the end of the day, you probably could have between $3,000 to $5,000 in golf clubs in your bag. What's the difference between doing that and going to Walmart and buying a whole set for $150? Would you be caught dead going on the course with a $150 set of clubs, knowing that that's what you desire and enjoy spending your money on? No. Well, Mary, you look like you're very well put together, and I hope you don't mind me asking, but I'm sure you don't go and shop for your makeup at Walmart, do you? No. You probably go to Lancome or MAC or one of those type of stores, right? Yeah, so what you're telling me is mascara is not mascara. Basically, foundation is not foundation. The powder is not powder. All those things cost a lot of money, right? So to put on basically your makeup and do it correctly so you're confident going out, you probably spend a lot more money doing that, probably 100 to 150, if not 200 to 300% more than you would buy the stuff that sets at Target or Walmart, right? But it's worth it. So again, if you're not willing to skimp on that, why would you be willing to skimp on your windows? Because correct me if I'm wrong, windows is something that affects you 365 days a year, 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You depend on them doing what they need to want. So if you're going to on that, if you're going to cut the corners on that, why wouldn't you cut the corner? Why would you cut the corner on basically something you depend on taking care of you all the time that you're going to live inside this house? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but your house is the single largest investment you ever made in your life. Wouldn't you agree? So again, think of it as insurance at $5.49 a day, putting that extra amount of insurance in to giving you the windows you want and deserve inside the house that are going to do what you want to do. Because how many times you do the project, right? Once. So let me ask you again. Do you need it? Do you want it? And really, can you afford not to do it at $5.49 a day? That, again, is reducing the ridiculous, guys. When you get good at playing with that, and I recorded this video too, when you get good at recording that or practicing that so you can't get it wrong and you can use that inside of your clothes, makes you the hero. It makes it a lot easier to justify what the price is moving forward and your difference in investment rather than throwing out a bunch of bullshit one-liners. Because one-liners can help jab you in the right direction if you're really close, but if you're distances away, how do you prevent yourself from walking away from somebody who says you're twice as much as what their next competition is? The only way to do that is use common sense and put them in a slice of life of things they're already doing. So real quick, what questions do we have on the call right now that you want either further information on, or if you want to come in for some one-on-one training, I'm more than willing to do that and take you through that also. But again, this is what we call a slice of life. So we want to make sure we're able to put people into that slice of life to make it make sense, reduce to the ridiculous and the energy out of it. Any questions, comments, concerns? Was it helpful? Waste of time? What do you think?
I loved it. One of the things you'll have to do is when a lot of times our leads are like 2-window leads or like a door, right? So it's a little bit of a different, like a door is different when I'll do like an entry door because you don't have the pain like you would with when someone's doing cheap vinyl windows and, you know, with doing retrofit, you can't scare them with that. An entry doors, you know, or just a 2-window. Maybe do a video on that. So where it's a little different, you know, because you can't use all the energy stuff if they have 38 windows.
Well, you know that an energy, basically 14% of your energy cost is through your doors. You know that, right?
Yes.
And a 16th inch gap around a 3x5 foot window is equivalent of a brick missing out of a house. And you realize if somebody doesn't seal underneath the door correctly and we happen to get rain, then that water gets back up underneath the floor. How much would that cost you to get that taken care of? And do you think the company you put the door in is going to be out there to service you? So there's a lot of things on a door, on an entry door too, Charlie, that you can scare the hell out of somebody with. So on a front door, there's a lot that can be done. You know, the front door, an entry system on a front door is up to 2% resale value of the entire house. Because think about it, that's your mission statement when you walk up to the home of what everybody looks at you, and that's how they judge you in your house. Think about it. When you walk up to a house, what are your eyes always dead set on? When you drive by a house, what are your eyes always gaze to? So that is the staple of your house is your front door. Just throwing some ideas at you.
No, I'm glad. I'm kind of cheating because I tailored that because that's my next lead. So I wanted some good ammo when I walked in.
Yeah. And you should look at the gaps around the door, look at sticking, check the hinges, use your basically inspection
Level.
chart we get.
Mm-hmm.
Use your level, use all that stuff. Talk about how most companies don't seal underneath the sill. They don't even know how to flash underneath the sill because we live in Southern California. They're planning on it not raining. So unfortunately, 9 out of 10 doors walk away day one without an installation warranty. You know, where do you want to be 5 years from now if there were problems that happened underneath the door and you couldn't get anyone out to take care of it? That's part of that insurance I'm talking about. Knowing you're going to have a company when 1 out of every 25, it doesn't stay in business longer than 10 years and 96% fail in 2 years. You know, your likelihood of having a company is going to be around to take care of you when there is a problem is very small. Aren't you glad that we showed up at your house today?
That's good. How do you beat up Home Depot other than obviously they're shitty and they have shitty craftsmanship, but just like a little one-liner or something?
No, I actually wrote a script. You know, I love Home Depot. Matter of fact, you know what? I can't blame you for not thinking of Home Depot when you think about a door. I can't blame you on that at all because you know what? If I need to go down and I need a quick fix, like I need to buy a wax ring for a toilet, or I needed to buy a screw gun, or I needed to buy, you know, some basic household tools or some filters, or basically, you know, some gardening equipment or something like that that I needed that was fast and efficient, I go down there all the time. And so they're great for that type of thing. But the problem is you don't realize that they specialize in new home construction aspect. That's what their whole thing is. So if you needed to go buy a window or a door to put in a garage, or maybe like an addition that's brand spanking new, that's where you would go to shop for those items. You would never go there for something of a house that's already existing because, as you notice, all the materials already set in a box on the side of the floor. And they even put in the warranty on that. If you don't have that door painted within 7 days, you're going to void your warranty. Not to mention, they subcontract all their work, and they only background check the lead installer. So the guy that shows up to your house is like a lottery. You don't know what you're going to get or who you're going to get that next day. So when they show up to your house, how do you know their helper has been background and drug screened? How do you know the helper isn't in there to ask you to use the bathroom and then rifling through the back of all your stuff, stealing your basically your jewelry or all those other things? You don't know that. But 5 on their side and some of the investigation work has told us they're crazy. Did you realize they just shut down their entire roofing operation around the entire United States? And basically they're siding in anything other than small operations that they have working inside the house because of the disaster it's brought to their whole business. They say that part is the same line item as duct tape. So you think they're going to basically care a lot about a job that is basically a $2,000 or $3,000 job or $4,000 or $5,000 job on their house? They don't want to touch it because they don't want to screw it up. That's why they put all the liability on the subcontractor. And unfortunately, you're not buying that door or window from them. You're buying it from the subcontractor because if it's improperly installed, you voided your warranty on day one. All you got to do is go pick up all the warranties and take a look at it and know that, unfortunately, at the end of it, 9 out of 10 windows or doors installed day one don't have a warranty. And one of those big statistics came from Home Depot. So when you look at that aspect, how many times do you want to do this project? Even if you could get that door done for half the price, and it wasn't the same door as a lesser quality, probably a 28 gauge or 26 gauge steel door, which is going to dent the first time somebody bumps into it. Is that something you're willing to sacrifice on your home, especially being the staple of your house? Think about when your friends or family walk up and the bottom of the door is rusting, or it's not doing what it needs to do. It's racked because the hinges are so small and it dictates where the window's going. They put number 2 products on there, Charlie, meaning that basically there's level 1s and level 2s, and the level 2s are what you call your contractor grade. Everything you buy there is contractor grade because the vendors understand they're not going at a premium price. They're going to serve the masses, the do-it-yourselfers that know are probably going to screw it up anyways. Which is why, again, we focus in the specialty remodeling aspect and the largest full-service remodeler, because we know no 2 houses is exactly the same. So how we measure that door is got to be precise. Because remember, there's 5 different measurements of this one door alone. And we know if we do one thing wrong, we don't flash it correctly or follow the installation instructions down to the exact T and not install it like most contractors do, which learned how to install from their brother, their uncle, their dad that installed something that same way their entire lifetime. Doesn't mean that it's exactly wrong, but it's not what the manufacturer called for. So a third party inspector from the manufacturer comes out, they're looking for 1 or 2 things to verify improper installation. Maybe it's the wrong fasteners. Maybe it was the wrong fasteners where they're put in. Maybe it's the wrong sealant that was used. Maybe it was the wrong type of flashing metal, the pan seal that was used that basically is going to avoid that warranty. There's more things, Charlie, that can go wrong in a project like this. They can go right. So it's up to you. If you want to roll the dice to save a few bucks, that's completely up to you. But the last thing you want to do is see my face in 5 years after you know you made a mistake. Now it's going to cost more to correct than what they've done wrong than just to fix it right the first time. That helpful?
Absolutely. I love those little nuggets, especially about the background check thing. That's a good one.
It's true.
They only background check their lead, their project foreman or whatever.
And they're responsible for all the insurance that gets, say they screw something up, the insurance is underneath the subcontractor's insurance, not Home Depot's.
I also used the John story. Remember John that used to work for us? How he said it was a nightmare, how they would just pull up and they just hand it out every Saturday when they would go do leads. It didn't matter who or what or why. It was, so you were gambling every time that you got project, because some were great subcontractors, but most of them were bad. So you never know who you got.
Well, they would go and work for Home Depot for a reason, right? And unfortunately, another thing too I can tell you is from experiences. Say that you have a 3-window job, right? That contractor is responsible for buying his own silicone, his own insulation, his own flashing, if he uses any at all. And literally, they have to carry all those products. So think about it. If you buy a can of spray foam, the cost of a can of spray foam is anywhere between $7 to $20 for a good can. Silicone goes anywhere from $2 to $3, all the way up to basically $15 to $16 for using the right sealants, right? The insulation. If you buy a bag of insulation, that could cost you $15 for a bag of insulation, or you turn around and pay $20 for a can of it. So when you're thinking about all the differences and all the places they have to get cut, not to mention the labor to get it done, right? Going right to install a window out there for Home Depot is about basically $50 to $75. Let's just take it 50 on instance. So 3 windows are going to cost, or they're going to get paid $150 to install those windows, right? So out of $150, if they're going to install those windows, let's say the silicone, they got a difference in paying for 3. If they're going to retrofit that window, they're going to need a minimum of 3 tubes of silicone, right? So are you going to buy 3 tubes of silicone? Are you going to buy a $3 tube, or are you going to buy a $17 tube? Because let me tell you, the difference is 3 means that's $9 coming out of that $150. Or basically, the other one would be 17. So what's 17 times 3? It's like 56 or something. 17 times 3 is 51. So let me ask you, if you have the chance of spending $51 or $17 or $17 on silicone, which one are you doing if you got to feed your family at night? Next, if I basically take the sealant that's got to go around there. So I take basically, say it's $20 for the expensive one, and I'm going to need 3 tubes of that. So that's $60. Or I buy the cheap stuff at $7.50, which is going to be what, $23 or $22.50? So are you going to spend $22.50 or $60 for that sealant. Next, if they flash it, which very many are, basically wrap of window tape is going to cost you about 25 to 30 bucks. Or if I use nothing at all. So the cost of doing nothing, or basically that should last 3 windows for that. So let's just say it's $25. So if I add up my cost of materials just to install those 3 windows, let's say it's $17 plus $22.50. That calculates out to $39.50. Or would I use basically the good stuff, which is going to cost me $51 plus $60 plus $25, means that that's $136.50. If I didn't already have it in my inventory, it is going to cost me to install those 3 windows, which means I'm literally going out, if I do it right, and I'm installing those windows at $150 a window, minus 136.5, means I'm getting paid $13.50 for a full day's worth of work of installing 3 windows. Or would I cut the corner and take that $150 and put the cheapest stuff I can find and subtract that by $39? Or would I go ahead and make $110.50 to install those 3 windows? So if you were a contractor and you were going to have to pay you have to pay for the product so you can install these windows, but yet in mind your family comes first, are you going to make $110.50 for the day, or are you going to make $13.56 for the day? That make sense?
Yep.
So you got to think about that. There's more than just windows that take place there. It's the cost of what it gets to install the material. It's the contractor's labor to install it. And he's got to pay a helper. Not to mention set up a ladder or maybe not set up a ladder. And he's got to drive there, which costs gas. What do you think his attitude's going to be like installing those 3 windows or that 1 door? That's why we use W-2 employees, guys. So again, we can dictate what the cost is, so they're excited to install 2 or 3 windows as they are to install 1 door, as they are to install 50 windows. Doesn't matter to us. The fact is we're going to care for your house like we care for ours, control the quality of the materials and everything upstart. So aren't you glad I showed up to your house today? Will you allow me to help you? Do you need it? Do you want it? Can you afford it? Can I welcome you to Dreamstar Remodeling? That's some pretty good ammo. Anyone else got anything to add? Matt Buckley, I'm available when you let me know you're available. Anybody else got any comments or one thing they picked up or aha or something that reminded them of something? All right. Well, I hope you guys got something out of today's meeting. But again, reduce to the ridiculous. Use your energy audits. And you can also separate the difference in the cost of what it costs for a basic contractor to get something installed compared to us doing it, and the reason why we're going to have a good attitude going out there on a small project rather than just a large project itself. With that, guys, I will see you on the board and have a great day.
Thanks, Dustin.
Thanks, buddy.